Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I am your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to the Afridamus Report, Beyonce, and all of you that are coming later on. But today, we're going to be talking about ADOS, FBA history versus American history. Because as of late, I've seen few people, several people online here especially, who seem to have a lot of energy. When I say energy, I mean bad energy, negative energy towards especially Africans and Caribbeans. They want to represent themselves as the people that built America, as the people that get to decide who can or cannot be an American. So today I want to clear that up for you so that you know what true American history is versus feelings. Facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, you know this. You cannot go back in time and change what's already happened. So it is up to you to come back from 1868 and join us here in 2021. So today we're going to have a very insightful conversation, knowledgeable, and you guys know, I don't just say these things based on feelings, how I feel, whatsoever. No, 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 no. That's not what I go by. I go by facts because you see, a lot of these people that come online, they are like sheeps. They don't think for themselves. They just follow a quote unquote a leader. When when I was growing up, when I first went to Gambia, right? I visited, the village where my folks came from. Hey, Slayer Jam, Beyonce, Nakopi, everyone, St. James, I want to welcome all of you here and Amilka. So those of you that are from Africa, most people, you live in the city, but your parents, mostly they are from the village. They have a village originally where they're from. So I remember, during school break holiday, I went to visit, the village where my parents came from, my grandfather, everyone. I mean, it was cool. People, I mean, beautiful farmers, So one of the roles that I took, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, like they used to go work in the farm. I mean, back then I was quite lazy. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I was like a super worker. No, but I enjoyed, you know, being around the sheeps because coming from the city, you're not used to that. You see sheeps, but you're not used to that. So I was fascinated by that. So I became a sheep herder. I was the one herding them. And what I noticed is they would all follow one sheep So I'm the one directing that sheep, to go to the grazing land, and they all follow that sheep. So that's what you're seeing with these ADOS/FBA people. They don't know true American history. When they say immigrants, these black immigrants, you better be careful. You better go read American history and find out who were the first immigrants. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to blow your mind. Have you ever heard of the Great Migration? The Great Migration is when, between 1920 and 1970, a little over 6 million blacks migrated from the south to the north. There's a reason why they call it the Great Migration. They were the first immigrants. I'm talking 1920. Listen to this carefully. 1920 to 1970. So a lot of these people that are talking, calling New York, California, oh, this is our turf. No, it's not your turf. Your great-grandfathers, they immigrated to those places. And during that immigration, the people now they're calling immigrants, the Caribbeans, right? Many Caribbeans were also immigrating, and most of them prior to even 1920 immigrated from Jamaica, Haiti, Barbados, you name it, Trinidad. They also immigrated to these same places. All, guess what they were there for? The American dream, greener pastures. Because you see, people like to say, we built America, we built America. But I'm going to show you that, yes, I understand there was slavery in America. And it's a sensitive subject when people talk about slavery. But you cannot build wealth off of slaves. You can read all around the world. There were few places that actually built actual wealth off of slaves. This was the Caribbean islands. The Caribbean islands, Haiti, Jamaica, those islands. Yes, these people that owned slaves in those islands built actual wealth, because at the time, sugar was king. Sugar was like oil. If you look in the continental USA, there's no place you can grow sugar in. The climate doesn't support it. So the sugar plantations were like, today's oil rigs, like today's Saudi Arabia, places with oil. So sugar was like that. In the continental USA, what did they have? Even in the north, the slaves they brought here was even few. It's like they grow rice, tobacco, and marigold. That was it. Until, later on, towards early 1800s, the climate in the south supports, cotton growing. They started growing it. How much did that add to even the economy of the United States? You go look at it, because the slaves, these plantations were owned by individuals, private individuals owned it. You look at the United States ranking when it comes to economy. In United States didn't make it to number 2 until 1850. 1850. And go look at what brought their economy to number 2. It wasn't cotton, because even when slavery was over, with machines, they were able to grow lots of cotton. They stopped doing it because they didn't make much. With the stroke of a pen, one stroke of a pen by Abraham Lincoln in 1865, that industry completely died off. It put both the slaves and their owners, the whites, put all of them in poverty because they try to practice what they call sharecropping for a time. But that didn't work because the place itself was poor. The South was poor. It was a completely different place on its own. It was like the Africa of the United States, the Mexico of the United States. So it makes sense for them to migrate from the South to the North for greener pastures, just as you and everyone else is doing today, just like the Mexicans are doing and other people. So it makes sense when they call the United States nation of immigrants. Even today, as we speak, 2021, I still meet Black immigrants from the South. You could literally tell they are immigrants because they don't even understand this part of the country. So they are basically immigrants. The culture is not that similar. But before we get into that, you guys know I have to play the Pan-Africanist music and bring you to that before I enter into 1868, July of 1868, when they passed the 14th Amendment. And what is the 14th Amendment? Because this week, this became popular amongst this quote-unquote ADOS people who boldly started saying if it's up to them. They are even calling people who are born in this country, they're calling them immigrants. People were born here. But the US Constitution says they are not. So are we going by their feelings or what the Constitution says? I've been telling you guys for a while, some people think I'm crazy, that if these people were in charge, you, me, and everybody else we wouldn't even want to come to this country because there's not going to be any freedom for you. So it is first immigrants trying to stifle the rights of new immigrants. That's what is happening. That's what is happening. Because who built a country? Let's just be real. The people that are able to implement the laws, who are in charge of the laws, those are the people that built a country. The things that we see today in America that are benefiting people, that is attracting people to come to America, let's look at who built it. The skyscrapers, the railroads, the technology, the very economy that is running the country. Let's look at who's building it. Because believe it or not, over 12,000 Chinese were brought here to build the intercontinental railroad system in America. But how come we don't see the Chinese running around talking about we built America? That is very vital, because intercontinental railroad, I bet you that is more important than people working in farms. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's effort, but that is facts. That is facts. So I'm going to play our Pan-Africanist music before we get deep into this. Kick back, it's going to get better. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So, in 1868, which is after the Civil War, beginning of the Reconstruction era, they decided, because the slaves they brought from Africa were always considered African. Until 1868, they passed the 14th Amendment. And what does the 14th Amendment say? He said, anyone that is born or naturalized in the United States, guess what? They are a U.S. citizen. No state, no territory has the right to abridge or infringe upon your right. People, I want you to hear me carefully. It says anyone born or naturalized on this soil is an American. Now you guys understand why I say I am an American, because I naturalized in America. But now we have people running around calling people who are born in this country, calling them immigrants. When you yourself, just a couple decades ago, your own ancestors immigrated from the south to the north, to the place that you're beating your chest at, saying, this is your turf. Imagine if the white man didn't build the economy there. The white man didn't build the employment. The white man didn't pass the law, change the law, saying, hey, you can no longer say, oh, these people are not, Americans. They're just going to continue being called Africans because they were brought from Africa. But now it's funny, right? It's funny how we see people, they say, oh, we are not even from Africa. We were here. So how come it has to take the 14th Amendment for you to be considered a citizen? What culture did you practice in America? What language do you speak? Because you guys know, Native Indians, Native Americans, or people now, they like to throw the word aborigines. They have their own language. They have their own practices. And 1868, 14th Amendment, those were not the people that they said, oh, now you guys are Americans. No, it was specifically made because the Africans who were brought to America, they were not considered Americans. I know people like to put the emphasis on the slave part, but when you read the document, that's not what the document is saying. The document said these people are considered Africans. They didn't say, oh, these are Aborigines, these people are Copper Indian, they are from this land. None of it said that. So if you believe that you're a native of this land, how come it didn't cover you? Because the people that are from here, the Blackfoot Indian, my people, the Cherokees, the Choctaw, the Tulalip, you name them, they were not named under that amendment, because they are the natives of this country. They were the natives of this country, so that made them citizens. So if the white man who built America, who wrote the best constitution, a fair constitution, when you were powerless, they were fair enough to say, hey, we cannot continue. We have to allow these people to be a part of us. And you guys just saw the picture of the short clip I showed you of the black immigrants coming from the south to the north end, Chicago, New York. And by the way, there were Jamaicans too, immigrating from from Jamaica, the different islands, prior to even, 1920, they were coming in. And even in the South, when they had slavery back then, the free blacks themselves, they were free blacks that owned slaves. Do you know how hard it was to make money off of slaves? You have to be a special kind of guy to be able to make money off of slaves. Hey, nature doesn't lie, people. You have to realize that. We can pretend to be superhumans and act like, oh, we know what we're talking about. But guess what? Nature doesn't lie. Those people that lived back then, they are no different than us. So let's say you own a farm, plantation, you have children there, you have slaves that are going to get old. What are they producing for you? You cannot, obviously, even if they want to, they don't have the energy to produce for you. So you would be the one losing money because you have to take care of them. So we cannot pretend here and say, oh, these people were just killing their slaves. That's not true. Because how did the population grow? Mind you, remember, owning slaves back then, people were taking loans. They were taking loans to get slaves. So why would you want to do anything terrible to your slave? It is going to cost you money. It's going to put you in debt. So logically, if you think logically, that doesn't make sense. So this is why many of these people, when you want to have the candid conversation, they don't want to. Because if you look at even in the South, what percentage of the population owned slaves? It's less than 1.5%. Less than 1.5% of the population owned slaves. So let's not get it twisted. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get deep into it, I want to bring you today's news. In fact, I was out and about the other day. Remember, guys, I told you, if you see the street says Martin Luther King, avoid the street and avoid the gas station, avoid all that. Some people thought I was crazy. But the other day I was just out there. I captured something on video. I want you guys to see for yourself how these quote unquote FBA people behave here in America. So I'm about to bring you the news clip, how the behavior is. And then I would also talk about, there are studies that came out about why so many, it's shown a lot of women today are suffering from mental illness. And I will tell you what the cause of it is. Here we go. That was our short segment of the FBA news. So I was down there over in the black neighborhood. Mind you, that road supposedly is a residential area, and there's a big apartment next to it. I'm assuming it is a project. Avoid those apartments too. When you see them, make sure you go ask, is this a project? Do they have lots of single mothers here? You need to know these things, people. But this road, you're supposed to be driving 20 miles an hour, because possibly some kids might come out or the neighbors, whatsoever. But complete disregard for that. The reason why these fellas caught my attention. They were speeding on this residential road as if it's the Talladega. So the guy in the white car, he cuts off the other guy, steps out of the car, and you guys, as you can see, he was threatening the other guy, threatening to shoot him. Literally, broad daylight. So, answer this question for me. If a cop shows up, this is happening. Somebody's talking about shooting someone. So that means they're implying that they have a gun, because you're not shooting people with just your fingers, right? That means you have a gun. Now you're threatening people. What do you guys think the cop should do? What should the cop do in this case? A dangerous person who has complete disregard for human life. Complete disregard for human life. So, that is a problem. So when these people come, pretending, acting like, oh, these cops are so racist, they pick on me, I was just sitting there. They talk to you as if they were just sitting there reading a Bible to somebody, or they were taking flowers to someone. All lies, because you guys can clearly see this is what you would see in those neighborhoods. So make sure you avoid those neighborhoods if you value your life. Okay? So, in another segment of studies that I read, and these studies really, really matched what I'm seeing even online. Have you guys noticed? I don't know if you've been paying attention. Prostitution is at all-time high. You walk around, you drive, you see prostitutes all over. They are no longer called night walkers. I call them day walkers. They're walking up and down the street. Whether it rains, snow, hail, it don't matter. They even carry their umbrellas. Online, prostitution. Even in Europe, I've shown you guys videos, and this is not only in America. There is some even African women who their main job is prostitution. And how are you able to tell this? They are filled with anger. They are mentally sick. Because if you read and understand why are these people sick, imagine selling your body for weave, rice, chicken, whatever makes you do that. Imagine that. You're out there, because a lot of the men that solicit these prostitutes, they are devils themselves. So they have the devil's spirit. They more than likely hate women. So they bring that evil spirit. Several different men. And they are coming, exchanging that spirit. This is why you see some of these people, these women that are prostitutes, they have multiple personalities, because they are exhibiting all that devilish spirit that they've received from all these different men. Imagine that. And they become angry. Imagine you're a young woman, promising future. You decide, okay, I don't want to work like everybody else. I'm just going to go sell my body just to buy weave or makeup, whatsoever you are into. But you don't know you're selling your soul to the devil. Next thing you know, you wake up. By the time you know it, you are 30, 40, close to 50. Now you look back. Time has gone. Pretty soon, mental illness sets in. And that mental illness is exhibited in anger, hatred, for men especially, because all men gotta catch that flag. So I'm not surprised by the studies that I've seen. I'm not surprised by it because I know receiving all these different spirits, it would definitely affect you somehow. At some point, it will affect you. So, ladies, if you are into this prostitution, please exercise yourself and repent. Maybe at least you would have chance not to end up in eternal damnation. You might not believe it, but it is real. And you young men, guys, look, don't solicit prostitutes. That spirit might end up, you might catch that spirit. There's a lot of evil spirits out there. You might not want to believe this, but look at the behavior. The behavior a lot of these women are exhibiting. The hatred and anger. They cannot help it because they are showing all the different personalities, all the different spirits that have entered them. That's what they are exhibiting. Plain and simple. That's what they are exhibiting. Why do you think these people seem like they are possessed? That's because they are possessed. Imagine selling your body year after year. Joe Blow, Jimbo, Darnell, Terrell, Ray Ray, Pookie, all of them. You're just like a machine, a machine that is to be used and tossed away, machine that is to be used and tossed away. Eventually, that's gonna mess up with your psyche. So I have already observed it, people, but these studies have solidified. The studies have solidified because I have seen some behaviors even online where people want to normalize this. Don't go for it. And for you guys, look, even for a date, I tell you what, do not spend more than $11.95. Yes, what can you get for that? You can get a burrito. In fact, the burrito, full burrito, you cut it in half and share the burrito. Don't spend more than $11.95. Because if you're spending more than $11.95 at that point, you are engaging in prostitution with this person. Because I'm telling you, they're prostituting not just for weave, even for food. For food. You might think I'm talking crazy, but this is real. So, anyways, this is the middle of the talk on our American history, but we have to talk about present day history. Let's go back to the history. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So, we were talking about the 14th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen. The 14th Amendment, which says if you're naturalized or born here, you are a citizen. The Chinese are part of people that built America. The Irish, the Africans they brought here. I'm not talking about the people that are feeling entitled, talking about they want reparation. Oh, the Africans at the HBCUs. Really? I challenge that, and someone is like, oh, the ones that are born here. So if the United States government is providing the financial aid, and you said a second generation person, that means their parents who are working, they pay taxes. Where do you think the government gets the money from? So this is how wicked some of these people are. They're not talking about what they've invented. They're not talking about what they've invented. They are only talking about, oh, you're taking away what the white man set up for us. I thought you said the white man was wicked. Look, people, I'm a taxpayer in America. So literally, you're telling me you want to depend on the taxes that I pay. Because if you are feeling entitled that the United States government have to give you all these things, where do you think the United States government is getting this money from? Maybe some of these immigrants that you are hating on, or you want them all to leave. Maybe if they leave, the United States government might not be able to give you these food stamps that you are getting. You know, all these things that you're feeling like you're entitled to, those people have to work. And when they work, they pay for it. So to say that somebody, a second generation, and they say HBCUs, how many Africans go to HBCUs? I can count, you know, I can count how many people went to an HBCU. You know, I know a few people from my high school that went to Howard University, which is a HBCU. But do you think that person was getting handout like they are looking for? No, these people paid tuition. And if you come to America, it doesn't matter where you come from, Japan, China, wherever, as a student, you pay international fees. And international students have to pay way more. They have to pay way more than the natives themselves. So, what are you talking about? I've seen like they've tried to convince some of you and said, oh, it is because of us that you came here. So, the blacks that are in Finland, are you the one because of you that they went to Finland? Places like Finland, Norway, Africans are going there, going to college for free. Literally, these are white people. There's no ADOS there telling the white people, oh, you got to help these Africans. Even in America, that is not what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. That is not what is happening. You come into America, you don't owe this to anyone just because they said they are black. They are here to do, what they need to do with their life, just as you are here to do with your life. The only people you answer to is the United States government. As long as you're a taxpayer, you are a U.S. citizen or naturalized. Ladies and gentlemen, in fact, I'm going to open the line because I want us to have this discussion. I'm going to open the line. I want you guys to call in and give me your 2 cents about the conversation you've heard. And also, if you even have answers about why you shouldn't engage in prostitution or why the prostitutes are losing their mind, I'm happy to discuss that too. But mainly today, we want to focus on who built America. You see the pictures I've shown you? The inventors of America, those are the people that actually built America, people. The lines are open right now. So hit the link. You don't have to agree with me. You can tell me what history you know. You can tell me your ancestors invented airplanes. It was in the Wright brothers. Or you can tell me your ancestors invented the Ford motor car. It was in Henry Ford. Whichever. We have someone in the house. Matifi, welcome to the show. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Finland.
Finland, welcome to the show.
Yeah. So you told that people coming to Finland for free from Kenya.
No, I said I'm saying that like the people move to Finland. Finland is a white country. There's no ADOS there saying, "Oh, we're the reason why you're there." But I'm not sure. Is it? I said some of these countries you get free education. Is that true?
It's free education.
Right. So do you guys charge the
But it,
blacks?
it depends if you go into public school.
Yeah,
If you go into private school, you can pay as
you
much
can
US, and
ask my.
sometimes it can be even more than you pay in US. So people
Okay.
going to US.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. But you guys don't have like blacks originally just marching up the street saying you need to give us citizenship. Do you guys have that?
Not at all.
Okay, so you guys were just nice to the Africans that came, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, obviously they stayed. The point I was trying to make is, because these people like to say, without them, Africans wouldn't come here. But the original people they brought here, the slaves, they were Africans. You see? So I'm giving Finland as an example. You guys didn't have black slavery there, but Africans still are able to move there with no
We have
problem.
white slavery here.
White slavery, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I mean,
yeah.
we had enough resource for white slavery. So, like what we studied in preschool and high school, they told like them. I mean, I don't know if it was like joke, but they told like if you have white slavery, the people can like mingle any group and they're gone. You know,
Where did Finland, where did they get their slaves from back in the days?
locals.
Local, oh, local, okay. So it was
Yeah,
like
own people.
feudalism.
Own people.
Yeah. Okay. So
Own people.
slavery, it looks like slavery was all over the place, you
It
know,
was common thing.
back in the days. Yeah.
It
Well,
was
thank you.
common thing. It was
Well,
common thing, and of course, like I'm from post-Soviet country, and they had you even can't go to school, for example.
wow. So it's like, is that what they used to call them, the Slavs?
Yeah, Slavs, and
Slavs.
yeah, and you're not supposed to go to school. You
Right.
don't have, I mean, you can't read. They just like holding you backward.
Yes, it used to be like that in America too. If you were a slave, you're not allowed to read. It is against the law, but we don't live in that world today.
I know, but now you know where they got that practice at the first place.
Perhaps from Europe.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah, from Europe, like around Russia, and all those places. Because if you want to subjugate a man or a woman, you have to keep them ignorant of what is going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So well, thank you for calling in. Hold on. Did you spell your name wrong on here? Are you Matif on in the chat?
Yeah, it's like Madifi.
Oh, Madifi. Okay,
Yeah,
that's why I was like, okay, maybe you spelled it differently here.
it's okay. No
Uh,
problem.
hey, thank you
Okay.
for calling.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, do we have a ADOS person that is going to call and talk about this? Because you see, we got somebody all the way from across the pond over there in Finland. So this is not a unique thing. They themselves, they had slavery over there back in the days, not today, back in the days. They deprived them of education and all kinds of stuff. So, but now it is completely different. Completely different. This is not to take a shot at anyone, but it is to clear the air because you guys saw the skyscrapers. The picture that I've shown, right? The picture that I've shown people, you see it. These were the men. This is a popular picture. Men working on those big skyscrapers you see today in New York City. Those were Irish workers. Unless Ryan Lawrence, you're right. Black slavery was in the plantation, growing cotton, and some, every now and again, have manual labor. So it just makes common sense to know that when you put a man, because like some of these plantations, they would have like 50 slaves, 50 slaves and one overseer who's on a horse. So you're there picking cotton or doing whatever. You don't have the time to think about, inventing anything. And it is okay. It is okay. That's just what the system was. No one is saying that system was good. In fact, they've learned that slavery itself, without it, the South economy would have grown. And after slavery proved that years later, because when everyone is free, it allows people to be creative. It allows everyone to participate in the economy. That's why we don't have slavery today. So when you talk about slavery as if everyone is supposed to feel bad, when you've never been a slave. Some say, oh, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Slavery has been over 150 years ago. Even the Great Migration, you didn't have to cross the border from the South to these northern places. You didn't have to do that. Your great-great-grandparents had to do that. That's just like a South American or Mexican person, or even African, whose parents come here and they were born in this country, but then they want to talk about, oh man, you don't know about the difficulty of immigration, how to become legal, how to be, you've never gone through it. All you have to do is be born. See, when you come to America, look, a lot of people that are Americans today that are born here, if they have to take the test, a lot of these people that are talking about telling other people who are born here are immigrants, if they have to take the test that somebody like me took to become an American citizen, they will fail it. They won't be able to pass it. You didn't earn your American citizenship. All you have to do is be born here. That's it. So the faces of America changes every century. Every century. Back in the 1920s, the blacks, they were the immigrants from, the South to the North. And Caribbeans also were immigrating from the Caribbean. In fact, I've seen people, I'm talking even Africans, some Somalis, Ethiopians, several Africans who have immigrated to this country since back in 1920. People, I had to go dig to pull these informations out. So some of these people saying, oh, Africans were not coming here, we had to take all the blows for them. What were the slaves? Those were the original Africans. But even people that immigrated on their own, there were Africans who immigrated during those times. I'm talking 1920s to this country. I bet you guys didn't know this. I bet a lot of you don't know this. So all these people are speaking of is entitlement. They speak, they take the scholarships that is set aside for us. Who is us? The United States government is who is deciding You see, when they say scholarship, there are people who come online. It is easy to say the immigrants are taking the scholarship, but how many of those people have the pedigree, have the discipline, or the intelligence to get those scholarships? Because they don't just hand you the scholarship and say, oh, here, because you're African. No, oh, you black. I mean, of course, unless you're getting one of those affirmative action degrees, I mean, you're doing dreadlock studies or chimpanzee studies or um, social welfare studies. You notice all these black women going into taking it. Oh, I'm going to be a social welfare person. I'm like, you should probably practice this with your own children first. Then I would believe you can actually help. But like one of those, right? But now you want to compete. You want to compete against someone. Simply, you want to come. Oh, he's African. How did he get this degree, dude? Do you see this person's transcript? They got A plus plus in English. They have A plus plus in algebra, A plus plus in biology. I mean, they have A plus plus in space studies. Do you want to do the same thing? But no, you're over here reading at fourth grade level. You want to complain about somebody who's getting A's in space studies. You're like, oh, they should be giving me, they should give me the financial aid. In the US, anyone can get the financial aid. In fact, those people that you want to compete against, they cannot even qualify for financial aid because their parents tend to make a lot more money. I don't think you guys are hearing me. A lot of those people, their parents pay their tuition. So this HBCU thing is not even based in color, people. You guys, do you know who Rachel Dolezal is? Rachel Dolezal is this black white woman. She's a transracial person, okay? They didn't accept her being a transracial person, but for the longest, she worked for the NAACP, NCAA. She worked there, and all she did was, she went to the salon and said, hey guys, can you she looked on the calendar. She's like, can you give me that, that Mary J. Blige over there, the big cornrows, like. So she did that, and then she went to the tanning booth and she turned herself a little bit. Now she became a high yellow black woman because like, if you like black people, if you're high yellow, you can get away with stuff, especially if you're being interviewed by some black simp. So she became the leader of the NAACP. Okay, so people, think about this, right? She went to HBCU, so that means she's qualified to be black. Howard. But years later, they were like, the white people were the ones that came and said, man, this is messed up. How can you trick these blacks like that? You can just trick the blacks and tell them that, oh, you are black, just because you went to the tanning booth and you did the Mary J. Blige, hairdo, and now the blacks are like, oh, she's black. The blacks didn't even detect it. It was the whites. But they didn't accept her as a transracial woman. But even today, I found out she's still living as a black woman. She's insisting on it. So it is not about that. Kamala Harris, she's not 100% black. She went to one of those HBCUs. So these are people, clearly. You're seeing the people that are going to HBCUs. Compare those people's intelligence to these people that are coming on YouTube here talking about, oh, the immigrants are taking away all the scholarships. Seriously, do you have the discipline that the immigrant instills on their children to be smart? Do you have it? The blacks that have it, they're not worried about who is getting it because they know they can get it themselves. So you're saying this is what they see. You cannot speak on both sides of your mouth. That's being a snake. Because 1 minute you're saying you're so smart, you're such an inventor, you guys built all this. In fact, I've heard some of them say, oh, we make the best food. Like anything you say, they are the best at it. The best food. Guys, you see the FBA news I just showed you? Like I said, I was in the hood, in the ghetto, and they have this spot there, which is a fried chicken spot. Do you guys know the best fried chicken spot in that hood? It's not an FBA person. It's an Ethiopian. Ethiopian is the best fried chicken guy in that hood. You guys know, I don't have to tell you. Because that's what black people like to brag about, saying they are the best at frying chicken. We all know the best fried chicken person in this world that we know is a white man, Colonel Sanders. This man's so good at frying chicken, even after he died, we're still seeing places, the Colonel Sanders fried chicken. The black person that knows how to fry chicken, they prove themselves, which is Izels. But in this hood, especially for those of you that were saying, oh, we are so good at frying chicken. These Africans, these Africans don't buy our food. I specifically, I went to the hood to prove it. The best fried chicken spot, is an Ethiopian spot. A little, shack. And people, they line up. I'm talking, look, I tried the chicken. I'm not going to lie. This chicken was good. Okay? I was like, man, I didn't know Ethiopians can fry chicken this good. But I bet you always they're gonna, us FBA, we're the ones that put him on. No, you didn't put this man on. You just love fried chicken. Just say it. You're not there giving the man free money. So everything, they are the best at it. Every single thing. But then if you're so good at all these things, why don't you just set it up? Set it up and make money, because everybody's making money off these things that you're saying you're good at. People are selling this stuff to you. Oh, when you say, oh, we hate the Chinese because they set up their restaurants, and hey, if you don't like Chinese food, you don't have to go there. Are you telling me it's because every day you could go by the Chinese place, 5 years from now it says grand opening? Are you telling me you're confused? You thought they're just opening today? That's why you went there? It is about what you are giving. People are, like in this world, it's about either you have a product to sell or service to sell. You guys heard me. You have to have product or service. I mean, even those street workers are out there doing it. I mean, it's detrimental to them, but I'm just saying, everyone is out there. They're not telling us, we built this, we built that. I just showed you the picture. It's the Chinese building the railroad. And I'm not, some are going to come and say, oh, Alfredamos said blacks didn't work there. Oh, some blacks have worked on those railroads. But I'm just telling you, the majority of the people that specifically they came here to build those railroads, it was Chinese with some, with white men. Those skyscrapers you're seeing, that picture is very popular. It's a popular picture in American history. We clearly can see with our own eyes that these are white men, white as snow. Okay? But whenever you talk to them, what do they tell you? What do they tell you? Oh, we invented it and somebody stole it. So everything you invented, someone steals it. You think if someone steals the way I do my broadcast here, I'm going to stop? In fact, I'm not going to think they stole it. They just, hey, you like this setup? You like the way I do it? You're doing the same thing. It's an honor. I'm not going to go around and be like, oh man, this person stole it. Nah, they can have the setup, but that doesn't mean they're going to be talking like I do. Ronald Burns said, blacks walked on the railroads. No, Burns, I said that. I'm not saying they didn't work. They did. I've seen Blazing Saddles, and I've seen Hell on Wheels. Those blacks are not like these people I'm talking about today. This is why I showed those pictures. The people that went through the hardship of slavery, where they were even born in a country and they said, oh, you're not a citizen until 1868. Those are the true heroes. They're the ones that took the punch for you. But all you had to do is be born in Chicago or New York, and people who also their ancestors came here the same time, came to New York same time or before your great grandparents came from the South, you're calling them immigrants. Immigrants. And they're like, oh, if it's up to me, they won't even be citizens here. People, if you want to call in, don't be afraid, don't be scared. We're just having a conversation here. We're just having a conversation. Nobody's gonna get beat up. The link is here. Just come on through and have this conversation with us, because maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of confusion. There's a bit of confusion, and you want to clear the air a bit. One thing I know for sure, if you are only, every invention is stolen from you. Like one video I saw, this is so funny. They say, we are the blueprint. Blueprint to what? Criminality, maybe? I mean, come on. It's like when you even use these acronyms and say these things, decent black people that have common sense, you are insulting their intelligence. Seriously. If you have to force yourself, because a lot of these people, the reason why they even want to attach themselves and try to pretend like they're proud of their ancestors being slaves. This just started. People, mind you, this just started not that long ago because they thought they're going to get a check. And one thing I've noticed, somebody pointed it out. A lot of these people that talk about this stuff and pretend, oh, these Africans, immigrants, like, dude, if you're from Mississippi, Alabama, I mean, come on. You know, you're just here to try to talk and bring attention to yourself. No immigrant is moving to those places. Let's just keep it real. I wonder if these people ever even run into new immigrants. No immigrant is checking to move to those places. I'm just saying. Okay? I mean, I heard Mexicans move all over, but you I don't know any African person that ever said to me, or met one that said, oh, I'm from Mississippi or this place. So these people are used to only black, black and white dynamic. So when they come to the big cities, New York, LA, they meet different people. They meet other blacks who are not from where they come from. They're like, oh, I'm Indian. They start hating. Oh, these people coming over here. Because the other day I heard one talking saying, oh, these people coming here taking our jobs. No one is going to uh to those places. Okay. All right. We have Fuller Man. Fuller Man, welcome to the show again.
Man, good to
Yeah.
see you on the show. Good to see you.
Have you been listening to what I was saying?
Yeah, I've been listening to what you were talking about. Yeah,
What what do you think about the real history versus this feel good, make believe ADOS history?
well, at the end of the day, the real history is that you know it was a fusion of people who founded the country.
Oh, I think
Um,
you want to speak up a bit.
yeah. Um, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's just a fusion of people who founded the country of the United States of America. And as things progress, you get more people's ideas and you get more people's intakes that make it into America. You know what
Oh
I mean?
man, man, you're saying something good here, but you're a bit muffled.
Okay. Is it better now or is
Yeah,
it
yeah,
still
it's getting better. Yeah,
okay? Well, what I was saying is uh, that America is just like it's. I want to say that America doesn't really belong to anybody. It's like a
right,
settler. It's a settler. It's a settlement. It doesn't like necessarily belong to anybody
right,
because you first had the natives who came, right? Unfortunately, they went through their trials and tribulations, and then you had the Europeans who arrived here, and you didn't just have one type of European who arrived here. You got like the English,
but
you had the
but
Chinese.
you see, the problem is right.
Yeah,
A lot of these people they don't even know the American history, the country they live in.
yeah,
They like to say, "Oh, you ran away from Africa. Why don't you go back, dude? I didn't run away from no Africa. That would mean they ran away from the South. Like, have these
yeah,
people ever heard of Abraham? Abraham
yeah,
was born and raised in Chaldea, but he
yeah,
dwelt in Egypt. I'm just
yes,
like Abraham, no different.
yes,
So
yes,
they don't know what they're talking about.
yes. It's kind of similar to like maybe a family. For example, there's a guy named Uthman Danfodio. You know, his family dwells in Nigeria right now, but generations ago, his family came from Senegal. You
Right.
know what I mean? He ended up migrating, settling in Nigeria. But in terms of the founding of America, um, it was just like a lot of different players. Now, Where the black people come in who founded America are, of course, the labor that the African slaves did. They did the bulk of the labor. You know what I mean? But in terms of like political, in terms of like economical things, unfortunately, Africans who were brought here really had no say in that. And so you look at America and how it progressed, and there's like many different, different layers of America because you have the Jewish layer, you have the Italian layer, you have the Chinese layer, and things like that. And you know, in terms of the black layer right now, that's so diverse because you have us Africans, you have Caribbean, and then you have Black Americans. However, Black Americans unfortunately want to take credit for everything that maybe a Caribbean may do. Or,
Well, the thing is, right? Every group you see here in America,
yeah,
white people, black, everybody, because
mhm,
when they say, "Oh, the Africans gotta give us credit," as if, as if the slaves that came here, that were brought
mhm,
here, that worked. In fact, those were
mhm,
the people working. Let's
mhm,
not forget that
yeah,
they worked hard from sun
yeah,
up to sundown.
yeah,
These were Africans,
yeah,
but let them tell it. They speak as if those people are not Africans. Those people are aborigines.
yeah,
Doesn't that
which I don't.
isn't that crazy?
Well, it's pretty dumb to say something like that. Another thing that they don't realize, and I want to say this in terms of you, I think maybe one of the reasons why you have that Blackfoot Indian is because there was there were pre-Columbus Africans who came here. You
That's
know,
right.
they sailed here, and in the Americas they like intermingled with the native population. You know what I mean? But granted, they were still Africans. They weren't indigenous. They were still like Mandé speaking Africans. They didn't just like say, "Oh, we were already here before," like how these indigenous people try to, spin things. Like the indigenous people say, "Oh, we were here before everybody else," and stuff like that. And they have no scientific evidence or no like solid evidence to like base their claim.
But you
You
see,
know.
Fuller man, the crazy thing is, right?
Mhm.
This is not even to say, oh, let's go look at archaeological records. I'm talking about like Africans have never stopped coming to America. When they say, oh, the Africans started coming just in the 80s, that's not true.
No.
Records, even after slavery, you
Hmm.
can find records proving Africans who were coming here on their own
Right.
in the
Right.
1920s, in the 30s, in the 40s.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's records of them showing proof of that.
Yeah, yeah, what they try to do is they try to act like we're recent immigrant like arrivals, like right, like we recently arrived here, and that's not true at all. You know, that's not the case.
And you know,
We're
the
not.
Africans they brought here,
Hmm.
you see, this is Africans, it never fails. Africans are hard workers. They
Yeah,
worked hard,
yeah,
they sacrificed. But you see, as the generation kept going, it just started, watering down. It watered down. This is why we're having this entitled babies today. They're over
yeah,
here
yeah, yeah,
crying. They want
yeah.
they want to be given. Do you think if the slaves were crying like them, saying, "Oh, poor me," do you think they would be here today? But these
Uh,
people have the
well,
audacity to
well,
to to take shots at their own ancestors. It is a
well. The
shame.
well, here's the problem. A lot of times in different countries, like where there was slavery, like South America, and Caribbean. the slaves took matter into their own hands and tried to fight for their freedom. You know,
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. The foundation of Haiti was in honestly speaking, was just a slave rebellion where they just organized themselves and they didn't take no for an answer. You know, I noticed with these people here, it's just a matter of beating a dead horse instead of like just getting on with it, you
Right.
know, and like doing taking the necessary steps to, you know, meet the goals that they want to meet. I'll give an example. You have Umar, you know, talking about, oh, I'm going to build a Pan-African school and stuff like that, and no school has been built. You know,
Right.
it's just it with Umar, excuse my French, it's really all shits and giggles at this
Oh,
point,
of
you know.
course.
And so
And then you
when they
have
talk,
Tariq. Don't forget
yeah,
Tariq.
and and let me talk about that Tyreek situation. He wants to build a museum, but you know, I used to stay in that neighborhood around where he wants to build the museum, and that place doesn't need a museum. It needs a supermarket. It needs a place where they can get fresh food. It needs a place where you can offer people jobs.
Right.
Like, what kind of jobs are you going to offer people at a museum? It makes no sense.
How is the museum even gonna run itself? Because you have to charge some sort of fee.
Right, right. Yeah, so I think like a lot of times these FBA and these ADOS, they like to just pump themselves up,
They are
you know,
ships.
like yeah, they just like to pump themselves up. And I think part of the pumping up process is looking down on anybody else, you know, like including other Black people who may come from different places, you know.
But you see, it shows the self-hatred. Because if you if you want to know how much they hate themselves, just listen to their rhetoric towards Africans. Because in their head, oh, the Africans are weak, they cannot speak for themselves. So that tells you what their idea is about their ancestors. It tells you this is why they keep saying, oh, we are the aborigines of here, we are not even, Kwame, right? Kwame Brown, even Kwame
Yeah, I
Brown.
know him. Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
So he's another dumb one. This
Yeah.
guy used, oh, I'm a Geechee. It is proven these are, the few people, that group who went
Hmm.
and live on that island, they
Hmm.
kept their African culture, most of it intact.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he claims to be a Geechee, but now he's saying, oh, we are not Africans. We from here. Kwame, how did you get the name Kwame? How can you
Hmm.
say you are a Geechee, but you guys are the natives of this country? So a lot of these
Hmm.
people they are clueless, they are ignorant. You see?
Yeah.
So I look at
Yeah.
it, and I used to, because I deal with people in real
Hmm.
life. I
Hmm.
hear the ignorance that they say, especially when it comes to Africans. I've met some
Hmm.
even before. They're like, "Oh, you from Africa?" I say, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, I bet you have a pet hyena." I said, "Do you see people here with pet bears,
Hmm.
badgers?" They're like,
Hmm.
"Well, we see them in the zoo." I said, "So what makes you think we would have wild animals with us?"
Yeah.
So that sort of is like literally like they would go out of their way to say, to want to belittle Africans. And we're seeing it even here online. But all they're exhibiting is tons and tons of ignorance. They are
Right.
not building anything, they are not
Right.
inventing anything,
Right.
they are not starting any businesses. The
Right.
things that they are saying they are proud of, it's the white man that built it.
Right.
you know
Right.
a lot of the
Right.
businesses, like I told one, He's like, oh, you guys are over here taking from us. I said, in case you haven't noticed, most of the businesses are built and owned by new people that came to America.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own business. I employ people. In fact, I employ some of their FBA people because they would say it's our people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is wrong with it's like they have this hyena mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, I have
Because
a business.
hyenas, they are scavengers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scavenger mentality.
Yeah. And yeah, I have a business myself, and I mostly work with Caribbeans, because I do import export to the Caribbean.
Yeah,
And what I notice is that like when like a FBA guy or an ADOS guy finds out, like, the details that have to be put into these things, they just want to be like, they're turned away from like these things. Like the thing is, for example, they talk about like I'll give an example. Like they talk about, oh, there's not enough opportunity for us in like computers, like in the computer field.
right.
But it's like, are you willing to learn to code? Are you really willing to learn JavaScript from the book? Like, are you willing to do that? Or are you willing just to say, okay, put me in there and let me do my thing? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what they're not understanding. And another thing too is, if you learn the skills, if you learn like the skills and everything like that, then you can start up your own startup, because that's happening a lot here. People are starting up their own startups in the tech world.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, that takes a lot of work. But I don't
They
know
don't, they
if
don't
they,
want to work.
yeah,
It's just like I said, it's like hyenas. Hyenas are just gonna lay around and watch the lions kill their food or other animals, and they come and try to steal it and take the credit. I bet you see the hyenas how they are cackling and laughing, talking. Oh man, we chased this antelope down, and kill it. We're like, dude, we just watched the tape. The lions did it. It's like that. It's like we watched the tapes. So it's pretty much, complete strangers. Like last week, the video I did here, I broke down about Ludacris. Ludacris is an individual. He's got his own skills. That's why, like Visionary of Love just said, the example I was about to give. You say your extended family are successful. So what? That's not you. Like, what are you doing? So
um,
you want to claim this man's success just simply because you guys are, you know, same skin color.
speaking of Ludacris, I don't get what's the problem with him doing his job. He's an entertainer. He's not a role model.
Right,
He's an entertainer. Endorsements come with entertainment.
right.
You're going to take endorsements and make money, obviously, if you're an entertainer. He's a music artist. He's not a social activist. He's
Well,
not,
well, they
he
want him. See, this is the thing. A lot of these people that, it's like they just need to, for example, see how RJ Buckham said he come from a military family, all ADOS, and they're example of black success. And I see those people, right? But these are not the people that they want to show you, and say these are the successful people. They probably call them coons because they are doing so well. You see, they just want to promote the criminals. They want you to put your career on the line to say, oh, oh, look at George Floyd. Now they are making statues of George Floyd and that lady, Breonna Taylor. Now she's innocent. Not that her apartment was a trap house. Everyone knows this. Now they want to pretend like, oh no, these cops, they came. The boyfriend, he was a reverend. Um, they were there, you know. In fact, they were just eating ice cream, you know, and watching Netflix. But that's not what happened. You see, I'm not here to legislate all that. But the fact of the matter is, trying to attach yourself to other people, you know, saying, oh, this is what our excellence is. No, what is your excellence? You don't need to talk about the immigrants going to the HBCUs, which is very few of them,
right.
you know,
Well,
and yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Well, the thing that bugs me the most about these people, and this is why I stay to myself. You know, I mind my own business. I do what I need to do.
Smart,
You know,
smart,
you know what I mean? I don't talk to them. I don't waste time. As a matter of fact, I'm more friendly with my library than I am with any of them. You know what
smart.
I mean? Um, but this is what bugs me about these people the most. They use these token terms like black excellence and black love, but they do all these ignorant things, and I don't really see any example of
No,
black love.
more like black hate. Because if
Yeah,
you have
more.
to go around, did you see the ADOS news I showed earlier?
No, I didn't see it.
Well,
Yeah,
hold on. Let me show the news for people that
okay.
are just coming. I want you to see this. Nigga, I'ma catch you, bitch ass nigga. Come out the car, bro. Get out the car, my nigga. Get out the car, bro. Come on. Come on, get out the car, nigga. Get out the car, bro. Get out the car, my nigga. I got my thing on me, bitch. I'ma shoot you. So this guy, he chased the white car, was behind the Toyota. He chased him, went past him. This is a, you know, mind you, other cars are coming through. This is a residential area. He went and cut him off, blocked him, and you saw what happened. He's threatening to shoot
Yeah,
him.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at, like, for example, like the way I'm sorry for just putting it out there, but
Oh, don't be sorry. See,
I'm just gonna
truth.
put it out here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out here. When you look at the dynamic between black ADOS men, relationships are basically like toxic things. Like you I mean, even one ADOS woman said that she doesn't mind having a baby without being married to the man, that she'll just have a baby.
That's
So
the
if they're
culture.
saying, yeah, if they're saying this, what are you talking about black love? You know, like I'm sorry to say, it doesn't exist. It really doesn't exist amongst them. It's a very small percentage that exists amongst them, but it really
Well,
doesn't.
well, if all you have for your neighbors is hate, okay? Because look at this man, his behavior, threatening to shoot another man. Think about that for a minute. This is not normal. You can't call this love. But now you see, if if violence have ensued and that guy over there chimping out on the other guy, you know, they take him, you know, lock him up for shooting another man. They're gonna be like, oh, these white people are hateful. These white people, oh, it's unfair. It's unfair. You see? But then, people, let's be real. You just want to be able to go around and hurt people and nothing's
No,
gonna happen.
well, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I came from the same. I actually knew him personally. I came from the same neighborhood as Nipsey Hussle, and unfortunately, these ADOS people were all skinning and grinning in his face when he was around, but then they trashed him when he died. They were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, he's not one of us. You know, he's just a African. You know, you see his father."
Dude, that's
One,
real. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
That's real hate, because you see,
yeah,
you have to look at, see, they said salvation is of the heart. As a man thinketh, so he shall be. That's what he's going to
right,
exhibit.
right.
And I look at people, how they treat one another.
Hmm. Hmm.
What makes you think they're gonna treat you different? Even these
Right.
people, the only time they think they come together is to form a hate group against other people.
Hmm.
You look at
Yeah,
how
for
many
sure.
how many people are getting gunned down in these hoods,
Yeah,
Chicago,
exactly.
Baltimore, all these places.
Oh, and even
Nobody's
in,
talking about it.
yeah, even in Los Angeles, it's crazy here. You
Yeah,
know,
but
the
but they
homeless
would
people.
they would gather and
Hmm.
burn the city down for one white person.
Hmm. Yeah. And one thing I noticed too is that, for example, when the Haitian immigrants were having their struggles in Texas,
Hmm.
the, these ADOS people were just bashing them and saying,
Oh yeah, I
like,
saw the
really,
videos.
yeah, yeah, very bad things about them. And
Hmm.
it's like, especially Tyreek Nasheed, like, does this guy not realize he's biting the hand that fed him? Like, he made a
Well,
movie about Haiti. He made a
I
movie
know,
about Haiti, and you're gonna trash the same people that basically fed you indirectly?
but you know what's funny too? You notice with these people, they just try. They always insert themselves into other people's business. Like these Haitians were not calling for them. They somehow, that's the highest level of hate. Literally going out of your way to say F these people, we're not here to help them. But how can you help them? The US government is who can help them by letting them in. Plain and simple. There's nothing you can do for them. So,
Let me
so
ask you
it's
this.
crazy.
Let me ask you this. I'm reading the comments, and I've talked to him many times. Nipsey even told me Eritreans are built different. Do you think Nipsey Hussle was a Eritrean despite being born in America? Because you have people in the comment section saying, "Oh, he's not a Eritrean; he's American." Do you
Well,
think he had?
he's a American, American by birth.
Yes.
Yes,
Now, by ethnic background, we would say that he's Eritrean, right?
yes, his
Yeah.
ethnicity.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 By nationality, we know he's American.
right,
But ethnic background, Eritrean. You know, I
right.
mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to clarify that
No, his
because
his
you have,
mother his mother is a black American.
yeah, yeah. That's what yeah, exactly. But I mean, typically by our standards, especially I talk to other Eritreans, they are patrilineal, and so they were like,
Right.
oh, he is what his father is. That's what other Eritreans said. And that's another thing about these like ADOS people, they don't read. That's the main thing. They don't read. Like
Oh, trust
slavery
me.
is
Look,
it,
that's
they
why
don't.
this I had to bring the real history and talk
Yeah,
about the 14th Amendment. A lot of these people are allergic to reading.
yeah. And contrary to what they're saying in the chat, Nipsey did know about his Eritrean culture.
Oh yeah, he's
He,
been there. He talks
yeah, he's
about it.
been there twice. He's been there twice, and he did know about the culture. Now, it's kind of, and it's kind of sad when they do that. They try to claim someone who, like, they try to claim someone, who obviously has a different ethnic background. although he was born in this country, he still has a different ethnic background. But of course, they want to group him in with them, and it's like it's not going to be like that. You know, it's just not going to be that way.
Yeah.
Um, the thing is, slavery was way more complex than what these ADOS people make it out to be. It was way more complex. In fact, I just finished a book about how complex slavery was. It was too complex to like really even it would take hours to really
Oh, trust me.
unfold.
But you see, these people are not interested. You can tell they are not interested in knowing even about the lives of the slaves. What they are interested in is what, because think about it. The only thing they talk about is, oh, we want reparation, the check, we want this check. They are about the check. They don't want to know about even what the slaves, their lives were like, what they went through. Most of them would, they only try to give you, sob stories about the slaves, and you're like, wait a minute, how do you know all this? And they're like, oh, I have post-traumatic slave syndrome. Like I have never seen somebody enjoy, you know, being a victim so much. And the sad thing is, the men that take on the victimhood, I don't blame them because, hey, if you're somebody, you know who, your last name is your mama's last name, of course you're a victim from the time you were born,
Yeah,
because your
yeah,
mama probably don't even know who the daddy is, so you
yeah.
got to take the mama's last name. You see,
Right, right,
that
right,
alone that alone messes up your head. you
right,
know
right.
it's crazy.
You know what's crazy too? Um, they're so toxic and so angry when you try to tell them something, and you're not trying to correct them. You're just
That's
trying to
because
give
Satan,
it.
that's because
Yeah,
Satan is
no,
their daddy.
no, you're just trying to give them some more information to their talking point. Like there was this Black American woman who was like claiming like, okay, every Black African came from slavery and stuff like that. She was claiming that all
Yeah,
Black Africans who were in the Americas came from slavery. And I tried
that's
to
not
tell her
true.
about the no, I tried to tell her about the pre-Columbus Africans, and those pre-Columbus Africans, they fuse with the indigenous people there, and
Hmm.
they began to call themselves Garinagu or Garifunas.
Oh,
And if
Gary
you look,
Funes. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I know that.
and if you look in the language of Garifunas, a lot of their language is similar to Mande language.
Right.
But and I even asked the Garifuna, and he's like, "Yeah, we're the pre-Columbus Africans who came here, and we fused."
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know the Gary Funes music. I've heard it. Malik Rashad said, Afridamus, you and other Africans need to apologize for slavery according to Pan Africans. Yeah, Malik Rashad, I've seen, it's not only them, there's also these, delusional Africans who are also, due to, their ignorance and going on YouTube and reading first pages, and, they really come here and try to pretend they want to be passionate. It's like, dude, if you think that your ancestors were people that sold people, like who the hell even are you to apologize for that? Did you sell somebody? Were you a slave? That's none of your damn business.
Well,
What happened in, you know 100 years ago,
well,
200 years
well,
ago, that's none of my business.
well, well. One thing that I dislike about them the most too is they try to single out different ethnic groups. They say, "Oh, you," because I'm Fula, obviously. They're like, oh, you Fulani, you sold traditional African religion tribes into slavery because you guys were Muslim. And I'm like, I just was bewildered because I'm like, does this guy have a clue what actually went down in
Right.
Africa? Like,
Well,
does
they
this?
don't. They don't. They just see, that's the thing. You cannot go back and legislate that. If you want the apology, you are certainly more than welcome to find a time machine, travel back. The foolers that you believe sold you, you can ask for apology from them. That is, if they are sorry. Maybe, like, who am I to decide for those people?
It's not only that. Is I had to tell him. I had to tell him it's an eye for an eye.
Right. Well,
So
we have Truth Searcher here. Truth Searcher, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from California, bro.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. If it's all right, if I could just speak, I ain't want to interrupt the brother.
Oh no, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I just want to come and speak. Like, you made a key point, right? I think that's fucked up too. That Tariq Nasheed, he made a lot of money off that movie 1804, and then they was shitting on the Haitians and shit at the border that was basically getting round up, and it looked like some straight shit out of a slavery page book and shit. And I know me, myself, and other people that I know, we was calling the American government out about that y'all down there basically taking a page out of the slave book with these Haitians trying to get over, but you let millions of fucking Afghanis up in our country and shit, not to mention giving them setting aside damn near $1 billion for these people as well, and not even vetting these people. So you think, I think that's a big problem, right? FBA and ADOS don't speak for all Negro Americans, right?
Oh, trust me, I know.
We do, we can, we do, I would say, agree with certain aspects, but then in certain aspects we don't, right? Like, they're moving on the Descendants of Slaves. Every Black American wasn't no slave. You feel me? Every Black American that was a slave didn't come from Africa. As a matter of fact, we had one of they people in our rooms on Clubhouse, and listening to what we listening to, she found out like, yeah, she had slaves in her family, but her slaves didn't come from Africa. They was part of the Chickahominy tribe up out of the eastern board of the Americas, in North America to be exact.
But did you know, like, the even, how people, they want to claim native and all that, right?
Right.
Did you know, like, some of these the natives also own slaves? They owned African slaves here.
Yeah. Slavery was big business worldwide, right? No one hands is clean from the slave labor market. And then we got to also understand the term slave, indentured, laborer, or apprentice, they was all synonymous at that time. So the whole concept of slavery today was a social reconstruct that, the powers that be put into place to anybody that's Black was definitely a fucking slave, right?
Right.
Anybody that's Black is definitely from Africa when you had indigenous people worldwide. And we all know, ain't no pale indigenous people. All indigenous people are dark brown, dark hue, swarmy, toffy, whatever terms, people like to use, Black. Anywhere you go, this is what you're going to find indigenous people looking like. And the fact of the matter is that, a lot of Black Americans are already from America, right?
You think that blacks in America are already from America?
I mean, ain't no think, I know. You feel me? My grandmother is 80% Choctaw Indian. You feel me?
Okay.
The 20% is because her father was mixed with German.
Yeah, but if she's well, you have to clear that, because if you say, like, so they're Indians, they are not African.
No,
right.
You feel me? But
like, I've met people like that.
Right, but all indigenous people worldwide come from that same stock one way or another, right? You feel me? And you can also we all share this similar genetic code, right? And not the haplogroup shit, right? The oldest people is always going to have some form of sickle cell trait in their gene. Why? Because the sickle cell trait is to help protect us from malaria. You
Yeah,
feel me? A
that's
lot.
if you're from Africa, that if you have the sickle cell gene, that's for sure.
Right.
You're from the tropic because if you're from America or Europe, like the Europeans, that's not a common thing
Well,
amongst them.
actually, that's a misnomer. Europe, yeah. America, that's a misnomer. You got to understand that the oldest malaria was found right here in the Americas, in Dominican Republic.
But not
And
not North America, like
well, 46 million years ago, they found the mosquito fossilized with still the blood of malaria up in it that go back 46 million years ago in Montana.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as far as we know what to be true and common, and we can trace it even today, we don't have to look at bones.
Right.
The sickle cell trait, it's not even all over Africa.
No, it's in certain regions.
Yeah, sub-Saharan Africa.
Right, but here in America, right,
and
one in 13.
some natives can have sickle cell too, because some of the regions here in America have mosquitoes.
Well, the thing is, this the thing, right? The natives that they show us today, they don't, right? But every Black American, for 1 in every 13 Black American, we're born with the sickle cell trait.
Because the majority is from Africa. That's where
I would have to disagree with that, brother, because I know my family tree, and I actually have the sickle cell trait myself.
That means you're mixed with African.
Nah, ain't no African in my blood, brother, and I'm not even trying to. It's no disrespect to Africa.
Trust me. When people say they are not Africans, trust me, Africans, they do not take no offense to that.
It's no offense. It's just that you're speaking with somebody that know his family line that can go back on both sides.
If you right, because natives that are not mixed, they don't have the same traits as Africans. It's not the same.
Yeah, they don't have the same traits as us. They don't have the same traits as us either, brother. They not from America. They from Asia.
Well, they don't have those traits. They have, in fact, they have their own language. They have their own culture.
Right.
You see? So blacks that are claiming to be natives, then what was their language?
Well, when you look at the English language is compiled with thousands of indigenous language with mixtures of European language. So when you're speaking the English language, you're speaking indigenous language. You feel me?
No. But
I mean, bro, I can
what I'm saying,
I can
wait
source
a minute.
this up and show this.
Okay, wait. I mean, I've been to reservations myself on Blackfoot here. Okay, the language is different.
All right. Well, let's get to the language, right?
It's different. So you cannot.
Do you know the language that they speak, brother?
Huh?
Do you know the name of the language that they speak?
The black. Not every native tribe here was related. These are different tribes.
Yeah, it's different from the eastern seaboard and the plains.
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm talking of today. Today, like right now, you can get in the car, drive to a reservation,
right?
Literally, and whatever tribe they are over there. There's their elders, even kids. Some of the kids, they speak the language.
Yeah, they speak Nardene. Do you know what the Nardene language derived from?
But what I'm saying is not all of them don't speak the same language. They are not the same people. They are different tribes.
Right.
Like
and I'm trying to help you understand that, brother. If because I know the language, right? The Native Americans.
Which one do you know?
Well, I'm Choctaw. You feel me? So I speak the Choctaw language. All right. But let's get some understanding, right? The Native Americans that you think of that they show on the TV, right? They speak the Na-Dene language, right? That's
No,
the name of it.
I'm not talking
No,
about
not you,
what I'm
bro.
saying. I'm not talking about TV Indian. I'm
No,
talking
I'm talking
about
about the actual real Indians out on the
no,
reservation in the
no,
Southwest and Oklahoma and everything. Right,
no.
right.
I'm telling you right now, you're speaking to somebody who actually, like, I go to these powwows, we eat fried bread,
Yeah, we
we
got
do
one
our
coming up on the
dance,
23rd.
everything. I'm not talking about TV Indian. I don't watch TV.
Yeah,
I'm talking about real Indian. I'm in the reservation,
right. I know what you're talking about, brother, but
Yeah, in the
this
reservation. That's
this
what I'm
is
trying to tell you here.
I know what you're saying, brother, but the thing is a lot of people don't know the real history of America and the manipulation that this government did.
Yeah,
So,
but
so what I'm trying to explain to you is show you the connection of these people not really being indigenous to this landmass, right? You got three different types of Indians when you go out on these reservations. And anybody that have been on them, I'd have been on them. I got family in Oklahoma. My side decided not to go, right? You got three different types. You got one that look like an Asian, you got one that look like a white person, and you got one that look like a Negro, which will be a black person.
those are
right?
the ones that are mixed.
Um,
Okay. Do you
and then you
you said
have mixed ones as well.
you speak Choctaw?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've
How
been,
do
I've
you
been, I've been,
can
I've been speaking this
how
since
do
a
you
kid.
say hello?
Halito,
Halito.
and you say Oshio and Cherokee.
So you just go and learning all the different sayings in these languages.
No, these shits been spoken in my family. I'm from Mississippi, brother, where the Choctaws come from.
Okay.
My family is part of the West Choctaw Nations, the ones that got kicked off the rolls in 1898.
Okay.
All right. So once again, I'm just trying to explain, like, a lot of people, when they hear the term Indian, Native American, they instantly think those people, but we're not understanding how Helgowich took away all the books and literature that was written about these particular ones that used to be called Plains Indians back in the day, that took out any literature that was speaking about their origins. So we got to understand who these
but
people
there is
are.
some. What I'm saying is what you're saying here, right?
Right.
You're talking about the Trail of Tears where they marched, some of these tribes, right?
Yeah, sort of say.
So I know people. I'm talking literally. In fact, they might be watching right now. They
And
might
that's
be
cool.
watching. These are full-blooded Indians from Oklahoma. Okay, from Oklahoma.
Yeah, you ever heard of Bragg's, Oklahoma, or Strauss, Oklahoma?
And I can assure you, like, yes, like their skin, like some of their skin is as brown as mine, but the features are not the same. The hair is not the same. The language is not the same. These people know their culture. They know their language. They still speak it. Hold on, let's bring in Sean. Hold on, let's bring in Sean real quick. He's been waiting for a minute. Hello, Sean. Where you calling from?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. I'm calling from Maryland, but I'm originally from Florida. So I am a Black American, or ADOS, as
do you subscribe to the ADOS FBA doctrine?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty much like the one that people the one that knocked me easy in empowering ADOS. I'm the one ADOS person that they do not like.
Oh, okay. So you are against the make-believe history.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the United States and like the whole American continent, like we need to understand that, like, of course, like including Mexico and Brazil and like Dominican Republic, it's like it was founded. Well, I mean, I won't say founded. It was like it had indigenous people there. Obviously, Europeans came in, and of course, they brought African slaves. It's the same thing like that happened in Mexico, happened in Brazil, happened in Dominican Republic, and even happened in Haiti.
Right. The first slaves that were brought on this continent, they brought slaves in Mexico prior to the United States.
Well,
yeah,
not only
because you look at it, Cortez,
Mm-hmm.
Cortez, right? You heard of Cortez?
Yeah.
Cortez, when he conquered Mexico, when he won the battle in 1522, right? Going on, and then he relinquished it to the Spanish crown because, he was a runaway general, who did not get the blessings of the crown from Spain. They only had Cuba at the time. So he went looking for the gold. The fat chief helped him, take down the Aztecs. You see? So when they won that battle, so by 1530, because the Spanish were already, in slavery, they already had people in Cuba. So they didn't start bringing people, because even the first slaves that they brought to America, they were Africans, but they got them from the Spanish. Did you know this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
The
actually
Yeah.
mo-
glad you mentioned that because actually just in the United States it was a black man was the first
Oh
legal
yeah.
slave owner in the United
Yes.
States.
He was
So
the
these
first
English
person
people
that
gotta thank him.
fought. Yeah. He was the first person that
well,
sued to be able to own the slave for life,
well,
because in the
well,
US it used to be, up to a certain period and the person can buy their
Indentured
freedom.
servant.
Yeah.
well,
But he sued to be able to keep the man for life.
well. In the Americas, if we want to get technical, in the Americas, including South America and Central America, the first slaves were actually the people already there, like Arawaks,
Right.
Tainos,
But
and
they
things like
died
that.
off. They died
Yeah,
off in large numbers.
That's
yeah.
You're
not
Well,
true.
talking
not
about,
all of them. I'll say not all of them. I
no,
mean,
I
even in the
know.
United States, like there were a few that actually sold their land, and some like I think we all know the five civilized tribes. I can't, don't quote me on this. I can't say like exactly what happened at that time. I didn't look this up, but I do know like even when like the Civil War came around, um like there were Native Americans that were on both sides of the geez, I can't even think of this minute, on the Confederacy and the the
Yeah,
Union.
well, yeah, well, the thing is, today people, that's why it blows my mind to say, when people say, oh, they're Indian, they mix with, the Cherokees and others. That's not true, because they feel superior to the blacks they were bringing here. In fact, they owned them as slaves. You have to remember, when the Europeans came here, they lived with the Indians for at least like 200 years before they even conquered the land. The Indians themselves, these different tribes, had wars with each other. Because think about it, this is their land. For you to be able to conquer them, they would have to. They would have to take each other out. So they were not like united against the Europeans.
Yeah,
So they were playing, little games. Some would unite with the Europeans against the other
It's a
tribes
big fact.
until the Europeans,
Are you
became,
familiar with the Indian slave trade, brother? That went on just with the British, went on from the 1600s all the way into the 1800s. How they were shipping whole tribes, whole families down into the West Indies, Europe, and also Northern Africa, all the
well,
way into the 1800s. Are you
they
familiar
they
with that?
they they
yes, I
they,
am.
they have brought Indians, very, that's not, you're talking about the stories of like people like Pocahontas and, stuff
Well,
like
it
that.
started in the early 1600s, but definitely after the Potawatomi Wars, King Philip Wars in 1670, they started snatching up whole tribes, whole families. They were sending them to the West Indies, and they were sending them to Europe, and they were sending them to Africa for hundreds of years
Well,
during these wars that you're speaking about.
well, what I can say for sure, right? I know that they did not trade the natives of that they found here like that. They wanted to keep the plantations here. That's what they wanted to do. So they figured they cannot enslave them on their own land because they know the terrain. They can, revolt. They can escape.
Right. They didn't
So
want them to run away.
they didn't want them to run away. So they were having that problem. So they had to bring people from a distant land. This is how the Africans came into play.
So who taught the Africans how to cultivate the land?
Oh, the Africans were already farmers back where they
So
come
they
from.
knew they knew the whole land mass and the soil structure and everything in the Americas, where they could just come right in and just instantly start cultivating all these crops with no problems, without nobody teaching them that.
Oh,
That's
they were
pretty similar.
growing. Do you know, like they were growing specific crops?
Yeah, they had the
Specific crops.
tobacco fields, the
They had
cotton fields.
well, the cotton fields didn't start till later. In the East Coast, they were bringing people in to grow rice, tobacco, and marigold, and that was it. The slavery wasn't big in the East Coast back then. The cotton came later. That came later because the South, the climate there is the climate that can support growing cotton. But the Africans they brought here, mainly they came from West Africa. So these people were already farmers. That's what they do. They grow. They already know how to grow
Crops.
things. They especially rice. That was their thing. So
Yeah.
so they didn't need anybody to teach them that. They already know how to. They
But
were
the main
farmers.
crops of the Americas was the tobacco and the
Well, that's
cotton,
in the
and
East.
I will say the rice as well too. I would not lie about that. But the main two major crops that they was growing and was shipping to the other markets was the corn, the tobacco, and the cotton. These was the top three commodities in America that was being grown.
Well,
As a matter of fact, 640 West African crops is indigenous to America.
well, I'm just telling you what slave records showed. The main reason why they even were bringing these Africans, they already had the knowledge of growing rice. So back then in the East Coast, and the Virginias, especially, they were growing tobacco and rice.
All right, from the 1600s to the 1700s, what was the major source of labor coming from to work in those fields?
That's what I'm telling you.
Well, I'm telling you that it was
rice.
mainly Europeans that they was bringing here from the 1600s to the 1700s to
Right,
work in those tobacco fields.
but they
It wasn't
never
Africans.
stopped. What I'm saying, they never stopped bringing in Europeans. See, that's one part people tend to, leave out. They were bringing in a lot of Europeans from England, Ireland, Scotland. They were bringing them here as indentured servants as well. You see, but the cotton that didn't start till later. The cotton, because slavery at the time, even in the East Coast, have even stopped. They freed, a lot of those slaves even. So that didn't start till like, almost the 1800, beginning of the 1800. That's
Actually,
when that
cotton went
started.
into a decline in the beginning of the 1800s. That's what
Well,
actually kind of it kind of broke the South stronghold on the agriculture when the
well,
cotton started declining and
but
the numbers dropped.
that's not what history shows. History shows cotton went in decline. Cotton didn't go into decline until around 1864.
Yeah, that's a fact, brother.
1864. So this is why you look at even the US, even after the Civil War, they produce way more cotton than they've even produced during slavery. But they stopped the cotton business because it wasn't making them any money. You know, even with that, the cotton, even when they were producing it, it only added like maybe like 1 to 1.5% to the GDP. It wasn't that much. So that's why even the war was easy to stop slavery, because it was individual people that owned these plantations that benefited. That's why Abraham Lincoln didn't even have a problem, with the stroke of a pen and put it to stop. So it wasn't that big of an economy like the way people, try to present it. Because in, Jamaica, Haiti, those islands, prior to 1850 had way more money than the United States, because you know what they were producing? Sugar. Sugar was king around the world.
Yeah, sugar was
Sugar,
like
sugar,
crack.
yeah, sugar was king. So they had way more money. So the United States slavery was nothing close to them, because these people, France, England, like their economy, literally the kings and their economy depended on it. So they made lots and lots of money from those islands, because the climate supports growing sugar cane. So sugar cane was king back then. Cotton, like I said, even like the Civil War here in the States, it wiped out that economy. And it was even in decline prior to it. It wiped it out completely.
I
It,
also
it,
want to
it
mention there was a good amount of black slave owners
in the
in the
South.
South
This is
too.
true. Right.
Yeah, and they sometimes actually treated their slaves worse than
Of
white slave
course.
owners did.
Well, that's not a surprise. Even in today's day, a black person is more likely to treat their employee, like shit than other people. So that's I'm not shocked by that. But guys, thanks for coming, man. We're over the 2 hours mark. We're gonna close in, man. We have to finish this conversation probably tomorrow. Hey, Fuller man, Sean, Truth Searcher, man. Join us tomorrow again, okay? I want you
Yeah,
guys to
man, no
come
Okay.
in.
problem, brother. I
Yeah.
appreciate your show. I
Yeah.
tap in all the time,
Thanks
man.
for
Hey,
having me.
hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger.
Definitely not.
All right, guys. Thank
Appreciate
you. Ladies and gentlemen, I know the show is going so well, but whatever party even shows, at some point they have to come to an end. But we will be back here again and finish the conversation. The show was super great. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna bring in one last person, and we will close out. The conservative, welcome to the show. I was just about to close, but I'll give you a quick 5 minutes.
Amazing. Yeah, so I wanted to know what are the ADOS and the F and the FBA. What is
ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery. FBA is Foundational Blacks. It means they built America. They are the foundation of America.
amazing?
Wait. You don't buy it?
Absolutely not. Why? We all know that that America America was founded by conservative, um, by Judeo-conservative, Judeo-Christian white men, and it was colonized by it was colonized by white men who brought in Christianity and made the country what it is, what it is today. Um, which stands on uh,
Wait. Are you trying to deny that Black excellence built America?
amazing. uh, black people, black people need to really get this a rest. I mean, where does this start? I mean, when does this start, and where does it end? It's like the blacks want to give credit for every single thing that that happened in America. But truth be told, it was the white man that introduced the Constitution into this country. It was the white man that brought in Christianity. I mean, rather than the blacks appreciating that, they go on this whole tangent on how they founded the country and how they did this and did that, but there's no proof of that at all.
Well, the ADOS people said it was them that paved the way for Africans to even be able to come to America.
But I don't understand how that is possible when it was when I mean and just assuming that it was the blacks that were the original, that they were the original slaves, when it was the white man really that brought them into this country.
Yeah.
So where I mean, I don't know where they're getting this from.
It's called
Clearly,
ADOS FBA history.
amazing.
But this it's good to have you on, but you gotta come back again, you know.
Okay, perfect. I will. And were you able to check out the video?
You sent me. Yes,
Yeah.
I watched it. You definitely gotta. I'll have to have you on to talk about it.
Amazing.
All right. Have
All right.
good seeing you.
All right. Yeah. Take care, man.
All right, you too. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed it, because I sure did, you know. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I know there are some who, they get upset about these topics and stuff, but see, the facts don't care about your feelings. You have to lay off your feelings and actually learn. Because if you're finding yourself to be upset about hearing the truth, just maybe you should, if you're smart, you should be questioning, what you have always thought to be the truth. Maybe there's a lot of holes in what you know. So you cannot just go with things that make you feel good. You have to learn about what the facts are, because your feelings don't dictate the real world. I hope you guys liked it, because I sure did. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys another day.